There we go, people. We're now having a knife demo from Tim at Green Man Knives.
Okay, folks. Right. Welcome to my knife store. Tiny things. Everybody has them. Everybody who goes out into the woods for like wild camping or bushcraft, they all got a knife on them. It's fairly, it's a very personal choice. A knife is a tool. It's the most primitive form of tool that mankind ever devised. Very first tool, and so many different jobs. Different knives are made for different jobs. So I'm just going to little talk to start with about the different blade shapes and the different edge profiles as well. So by edge profile, what I mean is if you are able to slice straight down a knife like that, and then look at it end on, that's the edge profile that I'm talking about. So what I've got on the whiteboard here, I've got 4 common edge profiles, and they're probably the 4 most common edge profiles that you'll find. They've all got their uses. They've got their pros and their cons. And usually, you know, you might have a knife on you, and you're using it for primarily one thing, but you might want to use it for something else every now and then. Maybe you usually use it for battening wood or cutting wood, and then every now and then, you know, you've got a rabbit or a squirrel, and you just want to. That's when we look at the compromise or tension between different blade shapes and blade types. There's no such thing as a knife that will do everything. No such thing as a knife that will do everything. Okay, these blades.
Sorry, did you hear that? I need more than one knife.
Nice try.
I do a lot of shows throughout the year, taking my knives out and talking to people about knives, and so often it's kind of you get a man and a wife coming along, and you can see the wife down here. Not always that way around. The wife goes, oh no, not another knife store. And they come along, they go, that's really nice. As I said to her husband, you really don't need that. Well, my wife comes with me to a few shows, and she's a great salesperson, she's a great saleswoman, and she piped up on one of these occasions and said, is that like you don't need any more pair of shoes then? So, I thought that was a really nice one. Okay, right. Some blade profiles, some edge profiles. Okay, this at the moment is probably the most common form of edge profile you're going to see, the grinds profile that you're going to see. Hands up, what would we call that? Lots of people call it different things, doesn't really matter what the name is, right? Scandi. Okay, yeah, popular name for it. Yeah.
Angle bevel.
Single bevel, flat bevel, yeah, all right. Basically what we've got here is we have just one flat grind on each side, evenly ground to the best angle for a knife edge. And I think it was Wilkinson Sword back in the 30s did some research on what was the best angle for a knife, and they came up with 22.5 degrees. Inclusive. Well, mine are about 23, 24, something like that. Usually that's about right for stores and reviews. So there we go. So Scandi grind, it has 2 single surfaces on the face of the knife down to your 22 degrees or 23 degrees. This one here, anyone like to hazard a guess at that one? What do you call that one? Convex? No, it's probably my crap drawing.
Double bevel.
Double bevel, yeah. Anyone else? No? Compound bevel? Anyone heard that before? Yeah. Compound bevel, okay, or compound grind. This is ground so that these surfaces here, they'll go much further up the cheeks of the knife. Okay, much further up the cheeks of the knife. So you get actually a finer edge. As you're pushing the knife through a material, you're not forcing the material apart quite so much as you do with a Scandi grind there. Therefore you can get a bit more control over some finer cuts with a blade like this. Right at the edge it's got what we call the micro bevel or the secondary bevel, and that is the one that comes down to about 23 degrees. Okay, very small one. This one is a very popular one as well. This is a convex grind. Thank you very much, Dave. That's a convex grind there. Now, that's a good grind. It's slightly more robust than this. Because, as you can see, it's just got more metal. Therefore backing the point up. It won't cut as fine detail as something like that. But it's a very good general all-round knife. As an alternative to a Scandi grind, a full convex grind is a very good alternative. You find that will be doing probably more work that you put it to than your Scandi grind here. Right, on the edge we've got Sorry, yes, it does have a secondary bevel, sorry, it does have a secondary bevel right at the edge, a little micro bevel right down at the bottom to bring it to our 23, 24 degrees. Okay, so that is the actual cutting edge. This one is called a hollow grind. Okay, and as you can see, it's very fine. The shape of the blade is very fine. As you're pushing that through a material, it's hardly going to be moving the material apart at all. Not until the material gets right up here. It's quite a weak blade, this one. Quite a weak blade. Having said that, you'll be hard pushed to snap it. If it's a good knife. If it's a good knife made from good steel. With most of the things you do. If you do a lot of carving, a knife like that will be a very good hollow ground knife, very good for straight cuts, where you're putting pressure in one direction only. Where people sometimes get unstuck with a shape like this is where they're putting lateral pressure. They may be twisting their blade as they try to cut out the material they're cutting, and then you may end up chipping the blade. Okay, it's a little bit weaker, but it will give you the finest cut. Okay, so that's the 4 basic grind types. Now,
Tim, can I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
Would that second one be also classed as a what they call a sabre grind?
Sabre grind?
Yeah, or was that something totally different?
I've not heard it called a sabre grind, but I would imagine a sabre would have a grind, something like that. Yeah.
You know, you see people on thing, saying, this is the sabre grind. I just wonder if that would be the same sort of, because that seems to go sort of like virtually 3/4 of the way up the knife blade itself.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, it can all go the distance up the side of the knife, the grind goes. All depends on the thickness of the blade, really. Because you're working at the same angle, you're working at 22 to 24 degrees, always with the edge. So if I had a 4mm or 5mm, I think I've got 5mm, that's a 5mm thick blade, you can see that the grind, which is the same as that one, goes much further up the cheeks of the knife. Same angle, it's going to work the same, but as you can see, that just goes up there. So when you're looking at a knife, don't assume that it's got a very fine grind on it or that it's got a secondary, a compound grind, just because the bevel goes high up. It's worth looking for thickness in the blade as well and taking those two things into consideration. There's two measurements. Okay. Right, here we've got some blade profiles. So looking at the side of the blade, as I say, side on. We've got an upswept blade here. So the back of the knife sweeps up. The reason you get a knife like this is to get a longer sweep on the cutting edge. And there are certain jobs that's really good for. What would you use that for?
Fishing.
Yeah. Fishing, skinning, yeah. Excellent for skinning, and very good for fishing. That's my fishing knife there that I produce. And you can see it's got a nice upswept blade, fine blade, and very good for fine work and do some butchery work with animal skins and fish. Okay, this here, I was just looking for an example, but I haven't got any. I'm quite low on stock because it's the end of the summer, so most of the knives are gone. But this is called a flat spine, and this is very, very popular shape in Scandinavian countries. The Sami people of northern Scandinavia will invariably use a knife shape, a blade shape like this. Usually a compound grind. They don't use a Scandinavian grind, because that.
Hello people, sitting in front of me is Tim from Green Man Knives. We're doing a demo at the weekend we're at.
Pretty easy. It's on a,
Next to him is Clive, the organiser. And we got Bruce who'll be doing some game prep later this afternoon. So Tim will be doing a knife demonstration shortly.
It naturally just goes into the.
Over here we've got a firelighting extravaganza, how to start fires, doodah whatsits, and there will be first aid course over in the background for kids, teaching them basics. And as you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's, you know, a dozen or so tents rolling in the background. But yeah, so hey ho, more night peaks. Here you can see the firelighting course. You got trouble?
Hi, baby.
Hello. You're Lisa, aren't you? So was you Emma?
Yeah. Are you married?
Well, an American man calls me Berry. I don't know why. He's actually Barry. Yeah, well, it's a language thing.
Or try this. See how long the sparks last. See how long they burn.
I don't know. I had it made. No, that's not. No, that's Cobra on there. Yeah. Yeah, they're Cobra weaves.
I just hit myself on the head with the ball.
That's good. At least you didn't hit me on the head with the ball, so I'm alright.
Put the stick up on here like that.
Smile for the camera, Bob.
Almost. Harder. Push harder.
Yo, whoa, nearly. You're supposed to spark the tinder, not your finger.
There you
That's
go.
it, it's gone.
Good, well done.
Wee walk, don't walk. That's it. Oi, you, madam. That's my tootsies.
What are you doing?
Yes, Rob, you're on film, mate, so we can prove you can light a fire.
Oh, that's why they're in there. We'll put them in here because we're collecting them. Okay. We're also collecting them for us cooking as well. We'll all cook it together.
As you can see, it's just girls and some of the other ones here having a bit of highlighting. Go.
We had made
Right. Bloody typical. Just start filming, he turns his back to you.
Got some skinning going on here, folks.
That's mine. No, I forgot about that.
Oh.
First day, is he getting involved?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are just putting their stuff away because it's starting to spit.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll go and sort yours out in a minute. Yeah. Just go and sort that out. Dibbly dip, dibbly dip.
I wouldn't get that.
Still going to school on Monday. Oh, nice. Yeah, parents like you that make most of hard work.
Is this your mucksack, guys?
Yes, I don't feel well.
That's got my name on it.
Yeah? You're going to be having a veritable feast tonight, aren't you?
Well, we're going to cook. If anybody
We're gonna
wants
have a big spit roast over there with
anybody
it.
wants a bit of liver, we're going to do that because it needs to be done.
Liver and bacon.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah, the liver will be getting all of it
I'll
now.
get Bruce to show me how. Well, presumably just stick it on sticks and put it over the fire. Yeah?
The liver.
Doesn't need a
Stick,
doesn't need a lot of cooking.
No, it doesn't.
Very good.
I'd do it on a hot stone or on a pan. The liver's quite a sensitive organ. It'll start falling to bits quite easily.
Yeah.
So it'll fall off your stick.
Is that why mine hurts?
If you do the kidneys are quite solid. If you do the kidneys on a stick, you're only going to want them lightly cooked.
Oh, we get
The
some.
liver will
We get
come off
some.
your stick.
Just whack it in some frying pans.
Yeah, frying pan or hot stone.
Yeah. I dare say we've got a couple of frying pans
I
lined.
dare say we've got a few lying around.
What? I've got one.
There you go. You get first crack at the liver. Actually, I promised Tim first crack
Yeah.
at it.
It's not that big a liver.
We can all have a taste. It's not that big, is it?
Oh, then you'd be amazed. There's quite a lot there.
Yeah, slice and dice it.
I must make it one because it's the rock on these bloody stones.
Is there a certain point, Bruce, where it becomes easier to rip?
You're right.
Well,
Sorry,
just-
I'm conscious I'm standing right in front
You
of
just have to cut all.
Like the back is nice and easy to rip off, but the front, where the breast, you've got all little twitch muscles. If this was just in drops, it'd be a completely different thing. You could skin it dead easy.
Yeah, they all stiffen up a bit.
So the more meat you get off now, the less you have to shave off the hide later.
You make a Davy Crockett hat out of the skin.
It's a raccoon.
Duh.
Does anyone know anything about what deer this is?
Munkjack.
Munkjack. Why are munkjack vermin?
They're not naked, are they?
Exactly.
They breed like rabbits.
They breed like rabbits, they do a lot of damage.
Well,
Do they come from India origin or no?
They're worldwide. They're actually one of they found fossils of deer. It's like crocodiles. They just got to a point and they thought, oh, we can't be bothered evolving anymore. This will do. So munkjack are very, very basic deer.
Not really lunch.
Whereas other deer are, a little bit more complicated.
And they're originally from Southeast Asia.
Yeah, you get them in Asia, you get them all over the world, but I don't know where they're from originally, but this country, they reckon it's about 1925, 1926, they were introduced to shoot, and then they've escaped.
What you mean the landed gentry brought them in as a...
Yeah, I thought, oh, that'd be fun, they're nice little things. But you can get them, they're in India, they're all over the world.
Because rabbits ain't native either, are they? The Romans brought the rabbits.
Yeah.
Yeah, Romans brought the rabbits to Britain, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think hares. Hares.
Well, they brought rabbits, yeah. Rabbits aren't a native species to Britain.
I think hares probably are.
Yeah, hares.
Yeah, hares are, but not rabbits. Because they brought them as a food source.
No, I thought there were hares came like in Roman times. Yeah.
Well, rabbits did as well. Because they brought them as a food source. Because they were sort of like using them all the way from Italy right the way across Europe. When they got here there weren't none, so they introduced them.
Can you use hand like they do in a sheepskin or not? In a deer?
Sorry?
Can you use hand in a deer or not?
No, it would tear. The bond is so much harder. If it was done hot,
If it was fresh it'd be a bit easier, I think he said. I know it's a stupid question, but would a Stanley knife work on that?
Yeah.
Because it's sharp, isn't it?
I just said a craft knife or something, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't want anything too sharp because you're just going to puncture the hide then. Yeah, so it's a trade-off between being out of... But you can do it perfectly well with a bit of flint. It just takes a little bit longer.
You buy chicken from Tesco?
Not hundreds, I've done a few, yeah. But it's like the odd one when we was in the butcher's, someone was bringing in roadkill. Because we just don't, nobody eats muntjac. Which is considering it's a nuisance species, road traffic accidents should be duty bound to it.
Certainly shouldn't be. Because if you hit one, you're not allowed to pick it up or something.
No, but the car behind you is.
It's pretty stupid, isn't it?
So all you say was, I was the car behind myself.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, so like
Yeah. I drove back over it.
Yeah, but basically they're saying that it's to stop them swerving towards it. That's the reason. If you see a rabbit in the road, you run it over and then go and pick it up.
That's the same as pheasants. If you whack a pheasant, you can't pick it up.
Yeah, but it's one of those laws that no one's ever going to nick you for it.
It'll go harder over time, it'll get lighter as well.
it will.
Yeah, you think, well, he smashed the front of my car and
Where's the evidence? In the freezer.
Okay. Prove
I'll
that this was the deer.
Yeah.
Habeas corpus.
You see the paint flecks in the skin.
sitting the rest.
Just right.
What's that, got yourself a little star?
And we reckon it's a male.
Is that for you? He's got a nice thumb loop at the right height.
I know, well, you know. Yeah, but he's been working away at his face over it. Great.
Spec. Should have brought me tripod. It's in me driver's car. Nah, that's alright.
Right, Mary?
Oh yes. Afraid to say you're in full shot. You ain't going to get no fancy camera angles like you put on the last one, I tell you. This is just point and shoot.
5 different cameras.
It will be unedited.
Are you videoing?
Oh yes.
Come on the back of you.
Well, it's your deer. You want to stand in front, stand in front. It's your lump of meat.
I wish I could say I'd shot it myself.
Well, if you did, you wouldn't be able to have it.
Sorry?
What are you going to do with the skin?
You could...
What are you going to do with it?
No, it's what Di's going to do with it.
What are you going to do with it?
That's a very good question. If it was thicker, I would have it for sheaths, you know, for knife sheaths, but it's not thick enough really.
It's very thin leather. It's good for polishing stuff.
It may end up being
A nice rug on the bedroom carpet.
It may end up being a rug in front of the fire, actually.
Buckskin pouches.
Yeah.
Tinder pouch?
Yeah, tinder pouch, yeah.
That kind
Tinder
of,
pouch, there's an idea.
Nice pair of Y fronts as well.
What's that?
First side in.
Yeah, first side in, yeah.
have a little go with skinning?
I'll have a go, mate. Yeah.
Go on.
I don't think it's skis or it's
Swimming costume tomorrow?
Yeah.
I'll give you Tarzan impressions through the woods.
But chamois leathers that you use to clean your car with, that is deerskin. Because chamois is it French for deer?
It's French for a particular small deer.
Yeah.
Chamois.
Apparently, Rob, you've been gutted, according to Jason.
You want to be cutting.
You can go.
Do you hold the knife? You hold the knife sort of like that.
Oh, okay.
And as you pull, you want to just be cutting just the edges, not the meat.
You just have got the outside and then the middle. Oh, I've used both. I've used both hands. When you're right now. If we're eating, I use both. Alright. For marking left, we'll see with both.
I'm surprised we had no predators around that thing.
That's a green bug. The leafy thing.
It's a shield bug, isn't it? Yeah, a shield bug.
Alright, be careful.
It's fun horrible.
As long as it ain't a tick.
Alright, just take it off.
Have you got a chiller box to put it in, Di?
Actually, got a fridge in the van, but I don't think it'll go in. Doesn't matter, does it? It's deer.
Once it's in,
I haven't got a very big fridge.
there we go.
It's unlikely to make a recovery.
Yeah.
A big dog.
Same. My son's American Akita's bigger than that deer.
So on a hot deer, that would just come there.
Yeah, the doll's not easier on a hot. If you watch like deer videos on YouTube, they usually just go, and the skin's off.
Oh,
I did it earlier.
right.
Or they lay the skin over it and then lift it off and go, there's the skin. But you know, you could spend a good hour doing this. Yeah. You can get it off nice and neat.
It's going to fight to the last minute.
Yeah.
Hello ladies and jellyfish. Here we are, Saturday afternoon, it's nearly 4 o'clock and spoon carving class in progress. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's about a dozen or so people having a go at whacking some spoons all around. So as you can see, there's a good few. My chauffeur over there in the background, Mr. Rob Mackenzie.
People are using, can you return them to the table as soon as they're used?
Just he's cut his wood in half, he battened his wood in half, and now he's just cutting the basic shape where he needs to come down with his axe to rough shape it before he starts a little bit of carving as such. So, and over here we've got Bruce, who's now making a second spoon of the day, so he's on a roll, and very shortly Bruce will be doing game prep. So over there, smoking away, you can see Bruce's smoker. So we're going to have some jerky on that later, so looking forward to that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is camp that I've just the shelter at the back is run for this weekend. It's scout camp over here in just the other side of Colchester. So yeah, so you know we've got a few people about. 2 there, 1 there, 2 there. There's 4 up the back. Me, and then obviously we got 1 here, round to there, so you know, there's a good few people you can see, so I shall take some pictures and be back later. There you go, morning peeps, 10 o'clock Sunday morning. Huge downpour last night, or this morning, 4 o'clockish, and the kids have got the fire going. Crack on. Can't beat it.
That's Wrabness, we're at the end of the maze.
That's another thing to look for up the nose.
Young Mackenzie in the front, Tyler over there.
You find a golf ball down there in the platform.
Yeah. I mean, it was literally a wash, this one, you can see it, because there's got a lot of 4-inch deep puddle in the middle, but the kids have got the fire going, so happy days.
My mate found one.
Another trip to Walton?
Yeah, my mate found one and it had a stitch in it. It's changed logo at arm's length this time, we don't get out.
That's the problem.
He was talking to me about how to get American cream and stuff like that.
We've got a lot of things here on our we've our go-to man who's technical. But that's what it's not on the button, he's the guy behind the screen making all the decisions. He's blowing it over the world for it.
You might suddenly get out of it early to go. Yeah, well, I saw that. I meant to go back to it.
Right, get them together.
Right, everybody, group photos.
Right, kids, you come over here, please.